Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today we are looking at the Toughbuilt Stacktech system. Now this is one of the first of this system in the UK. I went all the way over to the States, went around multiple Lowe's stores to find all the pieces of the puzzle and shipped it all back to the UK so we can have a proper look now, and I'll be going through my top 5 features of this system. And not just the StackTech system, but all the accessories too, and 10 of my favourite Toughbuilt tools. There's loads of Toughbuilt tools that aren't available in the UK, but I managed to get them in the States, brought them back with me over here, and I've got some extras to give away as well. So let's start with the StackTech system, and if you don't know about this already, let me bring you up to speed. So hopefully you can see why I went to all that trouble to fly over to the States, go around all those different Lowe's stores to find the complete Toughbuilt StackTech system and spend my own money on this so I can be impartial and give you 5 of my favourite features and some really good positives about this system, and then a couple of niggles and negatives as well. So let me talk you through my top 5 features, starting with number 5. So one of the first features I really like about the StackTech system is around the back. So this is the rolling box here with your traditional handle for rolling it around. Now traditionally these are fixed in place and they go down to the base, but when you take boxes off, the handle protrudes. So if you're kind of stacking it in your van or mainly in a pickup, this thing wouldn't fit. Not so with the Toughbuilt system, because you can undo those 2 little clips there, and then the handle comes off, and you can see that is then flush with the top. So that will go under your kind of like rock and roll cover in a pickup. And it's a simple mechanism. Handle comes out nice and easy, goes back in nice and easy. You put the 2 latches in and it's fixed and ready to go. Another thing while I'm down here is the wheels are really smart. They're much wider than normal wheels, and something like a pack out has got like a plastic wheel. You can upgrade them to rubber, but this one comes with rubber wheels, and the DeWalt Tough system has got rubber wheels, but they're much narrower. So obviously with a wider wheel, you can kind of navigate rougher terrain. So definitely 2 great features to start with. Let me show you number 4. The next thing I really like is this center latch. Most of these systems have kind of a latch left and right, so it's either a 2-handed operation or it's 1 hand and 2 actions. With the Toughbuilt, it's just 1 large latch on the front, and when it closes, it's a really positive lock. It pulls the whole thing down. You know, you might assume if it was 1 flimsy lock in the middle, it's not going to hold it tightly, but because this is so wide, you really can feel it pull down and engage that seal. And on that note, when you drop it, that's quite satisfying. It reminds me of that advert. You know it's a Golf.
And if you listen carefully, it sounds just like a Golf.
That's a Golf, if you ask me. It's got a really nice sound when it clicks down. I also really like it's got a locking point on the left and the right hand side. Most of these boxes have a locking point in the middle, and then if you do have a padlock on there, well basically what it's done in the past for me is it's put a big metal protrusion out the front which has scratched my other boxes. Having them left and right, the way I stack these in the back of a car or in a van, they go long ways but side on, so they don't scratch each other up. And also having a lock left and right, you can get keyed alike locks, so you could have 2 locks, same key, and it's a better, more secure fit if you ask me. Especially as these boxes are so sturdy. The wallings on them are really thick. It's a big, heavy-duty box. It's like a twin layer. And while we're around here, also, the handle is a proper stout thing. You look at this. It's much wider than your normal handle, so when you've got a grip on it, you're not getting kind of pinched either side of your hand. So it's a sturdy handle, sturdy locks, sturdy latching mechanism, and that's my 4th favourite feature. Let me show you number 3. So, 3rd on the list is Toughbuilt's accessories and the accessory rail on the side. So first and foremost, this steel corner edging does make it a lot more durable. It makes it a really solid system. If it lands or you drop it, typically these things land on the corners, don't they? So having that is a bonus, but also the accessories latch into this system and they're really solid and toolless. So this is just the cup. If you want to see the other accessories, after we've talked through the best bits of the StackTech, we'll be talking through my top 5 accessories. So here's a timestamp if you want to click ahead to that, if you're chomping at the bit for some accessories info. But I'll talk you through this one. This is their cup holder, and you can see it's really on there, and there's just 1 button on the bottom to release it. So that is really nifty. and then the cup goes in there and twists. And all the accessories work in the exact same fashion. Some of them work and clip left and right, so they'll have 2 locking points. It's a really simple system. You don't need an Allen key to attach anything, and it's adding strength. And the other thing is, it's not kind of protruding out of the side of the box. So really nifty, seamless system with loads of accessories. I've only got a few here, but there's pages of accessories available. So that is my third feature I really like. Let me show you number 2. So in the number 2 spot of the features I really like about the Toughbuilt StackTech is probably the most iconic or recognizable one. If you've seen anything about the StackTechs online, the connecting latching system is what really makes it stand out. Let me show you. So this box here has a little indicator on the front that's either in lock or unlock mode. These are self-aligning, so you just drop it on the top and it clicks into place. Doesn't really matter if you're slightly off center, it's kind of got like an angle on the bottom of the box, so it finds its natural center and it clicks into place. And the latch here only moves over to the lock position if it's properly connected. So you can have confidence quickly and simply knowing all your boxes are connected. You're not gonna tip it back and then one box just fall off the top, which has happened to me a few times with some of these systems. You go to kind of roll it off and one of the boxes hasn't connected and the whole thing goes over. So great innovative latching mechanism, and it's really easy to release the boxes too. You just push the latch over to the unlock mode and then literally it just lifts off. There's no kind of like pulling and dragging and wobbling the boxes around. They just unclip and clip really simply, and that is why it's in the number 2 spot. Let me show you number 1. So in the number 1 spot is the range of Toughbuilt boxes, because they are a new kid on the block really when it comes to toolbox organizing and toolbox systems, but they already have all of the most common boxes covered. So they've got the standard triple, which is like the medium box, the standard width toolbox, the rolling box with the removable handle. You've also got the 3 drawer here, which is great, and I love a drawer system. You've also got a single deep drawer, which is great, that clips on the box. We don't have that one sadly. They've got the organizers, clear lid organizers, they've got narrow organizers, they've got the half width compact box, they've got the totes, they've also got a huge range of accessories. And the thing with Toughbuilt is they've already innovated and brought something new to the market, which I love. There's a lot of competition in the toolbox sector, so the fact that they've already created something that's bringing something new, it's solving problems, but it doesn't stop there. They've got this catalogue here and they've got a whole host of new compatible StackTech products that are coming along. So they have rolling carts and stack trucks. They've also got like tow bar mounts. You can mount all this stuff on the tow bar of your car. They've got trolleys that help you load everything into pickup beds and miter saw stands. When it comes to the actual box system, they've got a huge range of stuff available already, but this summer they've got the elusive rolling drawer box. This will be one of the first systems that has a drawer in a rolling box, which is great. And that's not to mention all of the ClipTech accessories that can kind of attach to the side and make it easier to carry those awkward tools that won't actually fit inside the toolbox. So I did manage to get some accessories from America. Let me show you the 5 great ClipTech accessories I picked up to take this thing up another level. So number 5 on the list is this cable holder, and obviously it doesn't have to be cables. Anything that comes on spools you can have on here, and you've got 2 yellow buttons left and right. You push those in and the whole bar comes off. So if you're doing a cable run, rather than having one of those clunky cable holders that you have on the floor, to be able to get 4 spools, I've got 3 here, 2.5 mils of neutral, live and earth, and then a roller sleeve in. I mean, that's going to be quite a handy setup because you've got so much weight in your box, it's not going to be moving around, sliding anywhere. You can pull those cables with a fair bit of force and your box isn't going to go anywhere. The other great thing about this is this bar is telescopic. You can easily unclip them off the front and you can clip them on the sides. And you can have the bar in like the long mode for the front or short mode for the side. And in that way, you can have a roller sleeve in or a couple of rolls of cable on the side without clogging up the front of your system. So that's number 5. Let me show you what's next. Next up is the ClipTech rail. So if you've not seen these before, Toughbuilt have their own range of belt accessories. You can see this one. Just clips on your belt. You have these ClipTech latches that will clip on any normal belt. But with the ClipTech rail, you have a ClipTech fitting on there, and then you can just hang some of your pouches on the side. They also have a range of tubs. You can also take the totes out of the box, the ones that come with it, and they will sit on the ClipTech rail as well. So if you've got a load of different fixings in there and you want them outside of the box so you can work, so you can take it out of the box, hang it on the side, and then any fixings or whatever you've got in there are nice and handy. So that was number 4. Let me show you number 3. Next up is the cable mount accessories. Now these can go on the sides or the front. You literally just click them on, the same as the other systems. And just like that, you've got a cable neatly organised on the outside of your box whenever you need it, and it's not cluttering up with the van or taking up space in one of your boxes. So that's number 3 on the list. Let me show you number 2. So at number 2, it's something you've already seen. It is their 20-ounce tumbler, and it is on there really solid. The tumbler that comes with it is about 600 ml, so it'll hold a full can of Monster energy drink, and with a bit of room to spare, and that's a pretty good sized brew. The good thing about it is as well, the cup twists and locks, so it won't literally bounce out. If you are bouncing this over some rough terrain, it's nice and solid. So as accessories go, I think that's a pretty standard one, but a pretty important one. And the idea that that cup locks in there makes it a pretty nifty thing. So that's number 2. Let me show you number 1. So top of the list of the accessories I picked up in the US is the level holder. Now again, it's a really simple accessory. All these accessories are really. They're simple items, but they're really high quality, and they're all solving specific problems really. They're not just random. Sometimes you get these attachments that are just random hooks and whatnot. These are very specific in the problems they're solving, and the level holder is one of the best ones, I would say. So you click the base on, and that's like a little dish, and then you can put the collar on at any height, depending how big of a level you've got. If you've got a 6-foot level, you can drop that dish right down low. I've just got a 3-foot level though, and this is one made by Crick, made in the USA. It's coming up in a future sustainable toolkit video, and that's a toolkit of basically items made out of sustainable materials. Some of them are wooden, some of them are made out of eco-friendly plastics and stuff. You're not going to want to miss that, so click the subscribe button, click the bell icon. We've got loads of cool videos on the way, and this level wouldn't fit in any of these boxes. So it's kind of the perfect example really. Where would you store that? Where would it live? Well, with the level holder accessory, it just goes in there. It's got a permanent location on your box. It's nice and safe, and that's why it's number 1 for me. So that's all the accessories covered, all the accessories I managed to pick up. Let me know in the comments, have you got a Toughbuilt system? Are there any accessories that you're loving at the minute? I did see the wooden top, and I think I should have picked that up. That would have been quite a cool one. Basically giving you a really solid work surface to have on the very top. And there's loads of others too. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on the Toughbuilt system if you've managed to get hold of one. Maybe you're in the US and you've been using it for a while. Let me know what you think. But it's not all sunshine and roses with this system. I told you it was an impartial review. I've not had it long, but I've already found a couple of little niggles, a couple of little negatives. So let me talk you through a few of the issues I found with it.
Must you be so negative?
So first little niggle is there's no lock on the drawers. Now there's locks on the standard toolbox, the rolling box, the organisers. They have locking points left and right, so they're really secure, which almost highlights the drawer box as a problem really, because if you were to take this system on site, you'd have all your other boxes locked up, but then your drawers, which is where I put all the hand tools in foam and have a lot of value in the drawers, and there's no way to lock them. Now I don't know if they're going to be bringing out a solution for that. I mean, obviously you've got the attachment points left and right, so there is potential you could do something, or Toughbuilt might bring something out to kind of put a bar across. Milwaukee's got a bar that folds up and locks all of the drawers. Obviously they found a solution for the problem, and I would imagine Toughbuilt are going to come up with something, but as of yet I've not seen anything, so that is the first niggle. Another little problem I found is sometimes when you've got a full stack like this, there's something in one of these middle boxes that you just need to nip in there and grab that item, and typically most of these toolbox systems you can open the box and you can tip the whole stack back, but you can't with the Toughbuilt system. It's basically locked in place. That latch won't lift off, so that box is inaccessible. The only way to access it is you'd have to unlock this box, tip that whole box backwards, then you can unlock it, then you can tip it forwards again, lock it in place, then you can open this box and you can reach in and you can grab, oh, you know, I just needed this box here with some fixings in it. Then you can put it down again, but then look, you can't lock it again. So then you have to go through the little bit of a faff again to unlock that one, lock it up again, and then clip it in place. Now most systems, that's not a problem. You can unlatch it, open it, doesn't matter how tall your stack is, as long as you've got the strength to hold the rest of the box, you can access any of your mid boxes without any difficulty. So the Milwaukee Packout, for instance, you can unlatch a box, no problem, even when they're all stacked up. You can see I've got a load of boxes here, and then the whole thing will tip back. Like I say, there is a bit of a risk to doing this because you've got the weight of the top section, but sometimes it might be that you're just looking at the second box down. You know, if I'm trying to access even the second box down, it's a faff to have to remove the one above it just to access it. And obviously with this one, with the Milwaukee stack, you don't have to do that, and then you can lock it up again. And as you can see here, we've got the locking mechanism for the drawers. Milwaukee never found a way of locking the drawers individually, so they came up with a bar that pulls out, locks all three at once, and you just put a padlock around there. So not a huge problem, but it is a little bit of a niggle, and to be fair, if you found a workaround for that, it would be a lot better. So another little negative, I'll illustrate with this pack out again. So we've got 2 half stacks here, and they just push on, click to the back. And now even if you've got the tall compacts, it works the same way. If you've got 2 of those, you can still put a full-size box on top. It clips into place, and you can have 2 halves, full, whatever you want to do. And the system is designed in a way that it doesn't matter. As long as they're the right height, it doesn't matter what configuration you set them up in. When you look at the Toughbuilt though, with this kind of like angled, self-aligning little platform, this box will slot on as a half stack. you can have another half stack next to it, then you wouldn't be able to put a full width stack on top. So it does limit you a little bit with, depending on what your configuration is at the moment, let's say you're looking to switch over from Packout over to Toughbuilt. If you use half stacks with full stacks on top, you wouldn't be able to do it with the Toughbuilt at the moment. And even if they release an adapter plate, it's not ideal, it's another thing to buy, isn't it? But they have solved the problem. And that brings it full circle, really. The main reason I love Toughbuilt is the fact that they are innovating. They're doing something new, they're solving problems that other box systems don't solve. The fact they're bringing out this adapter plates to go from 2 narrow to like 1 full is great. They'll probably also come up with a solution for the locking drawers, and you've got to love them for that. I think they're taking on feedback and they're making it better all the time with new products to come. So although there's a few niggles, they'll probably solve them, and that's a great thing. So the final niggle really is the price and availability. It's hard to get hold of. I had to fly all the way to the States, go to the physical Lowe's store to buy these things. They weren't all available in one Lowe's store. I had to go to multiple, take them back to my hotel, package them all up in boxes, and then ship them to the UK. If you've not seen the video all about that journey, I'll link it here. You can go and check it out. Now, everybody wanted to know, how much did it cost to send this stuff back to me? Well, because I was shipping it from me to me, there was no import duties because I basically bought them over there, and it's as if I'm moving house. So I put together a full commercial invoice showing the prices of these things, and I used a parcel online comparison basically to work out the best courier. It ended up going with DHL, and I shipped 15 big boxes from my hotel back to the UK, and I bought them from the state of Delaware, so there was no sales tax there. And that's what I'd recommend really if you are considering going to the US to pick up some stuff. You can use online price comparisons for parcel prices, shipping prices. You can also do a little bit of research and pick a good state that doesn't have sales tax. In the US, it's a bit different to the UK. So in the UK, 20% VAT, no matter where you go. In the US though, it's different sales tax rates in every state. Some have no sales tax, like Nevada and Delaware, and others have 20-25%. So do your research before going over there. And that's pretty much the only way to get a Toughbuilt system at the moment. If you want one in the UK, you're pretty much gonna have to wait to the end of 2024. And even then, it's not a surety. Ian, the UK account manager from Toughbuilt, told me the end of this year, but he didn't nail it down. He wasn't sure. So it kind of makes it a big negative really on this system. I think it would do well in the UK, and we've seen loads of people wanting to see the video on this, but it's hard to get hold of. But I would say it's worth the wait. There's a lot going for it, and by the time it does come out in the UK, hopefully the full system's available. They'll have even more accessories, and they may have even solved a few of these problems. So that's the full StackTech system. That's all my thoughts on it. But it doesn't stop there with Toughbuilt, because they are innovating all the time, and it's not just innovating toolboxes, they're innovating tools too. And while I was in the US, I didn't just stop in the toolbox aisle. I went through the whole tool aisle and found all of the cool Toughbuilt tools that aren't available in the UK. Some of them are, but here is my top 10. Let's have a look at it. So the innovation doesn't stop at the StackTechs. Their tools are pretty crazy too. So in 10th place in the Toughbuilt Quirky Tools is their PVC Saw. Now some of these tools I picked up because they were such a good deal, and this is the first item in the good deal category. Lowe's had this on clearance, which meant I got the last 2 they had. One to give away and one to look at. Now every item they have has got some level of novelty and innovation to it. The saw is in the 10th spot because the innovation both adds and takes away. Because when I think of a saw, a hand saw, one of the main features I love, and if you didn't know, is usually they have a built-in speed square. And you can use that for 90-degree or 45-degree angles. Now sadly, this one doesn't have the classic speed square. It's got 45 degrees on both sides, but how do you run a square from it? Bit of a takeaway for me, but they have added a ruler, which is really cool. And on top of that, they've made quite a point of focusing on this pencil storage. Now I did also pick up this Toughbuilt smartphone holder, and it came with a carpenter's pencil. That as well is going to go in our Toughbuilt giveaway haul, which is going to be loads of stuff to be fair, so stay tuned. And essentially, it's got like a pencil holder in the back, and again, it's innovative, it's different. I've never seen that before, but is it adding much to it? Was anybody out there crying out for a carpenter's pencil holder? Because for me, that's the carpenter's pencil holder. That is just where you put your thumb, and by having a pencil there, it kind of blocks where your thumb goes, doesn't it, a little bit? Anyway, that is number 10. Lifetime warranty too. That's no joke. If they sold these items over here, the idea that you can take that back and get it replaced for the lifetime, and it doesn't say limited either, it just says lifetime. So that's number 10 with a pencil holder, which goes in that pouch. Let me show you number 9. So in the number 9 spot is the Toughbuilt Openhandled Shears. Now I don't think these are available in the UK. Any of these that are available, we will put links down in the description, so you will be able to go and find these. And there are some US websites that will ship over to the UK, so all of this stuff, however rare or available, we will try our best to put links for everything. And the Open-handled shears, they've got something about them. They're very, very comfortable, and the one-handed operation because they're spring assisted. I mean, let's be fair, all scissors are one-handed operation, but the spring assisted is really, really nice. And they say the left-handed or right-handed. right-handed, which is pretty rare in scissors. If you've ever tried using scissors in your left hand, you naturally kind of like stretch them out and then they don't cut. That's why when you're trying to cut something right-handed scissors in your left hand, they usually struggle. But for this, they don't. It's just really sturdy steel, titanium as well. Yeah, just a beastie thing, really comfortable in your hand. Like it. And that is number 9. On to number 8. Number 8 on the list is the Toughbuilt 360 pocket level. Now, this was a tool I wouldn't have picked up because I have one. And I was looking for tools that are innovative and I don't have and they might be useful, basically. That's kind of the way I do these things. But I've never been a big fan of this thing. I like the idea of having a small, compact level that you can have in a compact toolkit and you can have it with you. So that's why I bought this one. Aluminium body, it kind of looks the business, and Packout, for me, have pretty good hand tools. This is a bit of a letdown. So I bought this one to see if it would be any competition, and let me tell you, it is. Now, it looks very similar, I'm sure you'll agree. Serves the same purpose, it's a pocket level, it's for any angle that you want to set, and it's magnetic on the bottom. However, with this one, if you want to adjust it, you have to undo this lock here, and you have to wind it quite far out, I found, and then you can kind of wangle it into position you want, and the arrow's quite wide on it. That's always been my bugbear, that you've kind of got a millimetre wide arrow point, so therefore actually making sure that's exactly where you want it. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be a precision tool, and you can't precision place it, so it kind of always been a frustration for me. And then once you've set it, it's a little bit faffy to get it exactly where you want it, then you've got to lock it up, and that's a bit of a pain. Now let's compare it to the Toughbuilt one, where you literally turn this thumb dial and it just moves into position. The point is much the same as this point. I won't tell you that it's got a finer point. I'd say it's slightly finer. It's an aluminium point like this one, so it is kind of molded on there. It's part of the aluminium molding, and it is definitely a finer point. To me, I think they could do better. They almost need a printed point, but sadly it would probably wear off. So I do feel like there is probably a better solution to that, but I've not got the answer. But it feels like these little aluminium points don't really go to a fine point. They go to like 1/2 mil width aluminium, and I suppose they do that because they are kind of trying to get a fine mold. They could probably go a step up again and have a means of locking it down in position without having to touch this, but that is a cool tool. I like it, and that is why it's number 8. Let's go to number 7. So in number 7, we have got the Shock Stop 20-ounce Toughbuilt hammer. This thing's a bit of a beast, and on the shelf it just drew my eye because it looks so different to everything else, and that's pretty much a running theme with the Toughbuilt stuff. Wherever they're hanging on the rails, they look different to everything else. They've all got a quirky shape or a quirky feature, and the hammer is no different. It's kind of got a split head here with a spring in it to remove a load of the vibration when you're using it. It's also got a wider than normal head. Usually a hammer head is like square and it stops about there. It's got a milled face, which is, you know, some carpenters prefer a milled face, some prefer a smooth face. I've never ever used a milled face hammer, and I've never seen one that's got like a wider than normal head. It's also got your typical kind of rip claw feature as well, so it's got all of the standard stuff, but it's got a little bit of something extra. And I didn't just pick up that, we also ended up with a load of these hammer loops. 2 of these came from Ian at the Toughbuilt booth at Europe's biggest hardware show. You can go and check that out if you've not already. That's a full hour-long movie of me going around Europe's biggest hardware show, looking at all the cool tools and innovations that they had. And Toughbuilt were exhibiting at that show, and Ian gave us a few bits, including these hammer loops. I actually picked up another one too, so I've got 3. So we're going to add those into our Toughbuilt haul. I'll tell you all about that at the end of this list. But that's number 7. Let me show you number 6. So number 6 on the list is one of Toughbuilt's many utility knives. Now, Toughbuilt have got numerous special quirky knives, and this one is a bit of something special. Let me show you. So this is the automatic reloading. It's very American-esque, I would say. It's the only knife I've ever seen that comes with magazines, basically. You've got a magazine, clips in the bottom, and then you can push the knife out, and this one is the normal utility blade, and they have it like preset that this one has got like hook blades in it. Pretty quirky thing. I think it's more of a novelty, and that's why I've put it in 6th place. But if you didn't know, in our last video, the hardware epic, which I've just told you about, we're doing a giveaway in that video. Along with a few other bits, we are giving away 5 of these Reload Toughbuilt knives. So all you've got to do is go and watch that video, subscribe to the channel, and then just drop a comment, basically. There's 10 quirky tools from Europe. Some of them are absolute belters that I'd never seen before. So all you've got to do is go and watch that video, drop a comment, and you've got a chance to win that Toughbuilt tool, on top of all of the Toughbuilt tools that we're going to be hooking you up with in this video. So that is the Reload knife, and that's number 6. But let me show you my preferred knife, which is in number 5. So in number 5 is the scraper utility knife. Now this is a tool we've shown a few times. I picked my first one up in Germany in a German hand tool video, and then we've seen it subsequently because it's a beast and it's part of my daily toolkit. And if you've not seen before, I'll show you. It's a knife and it comes out like that, like you would expect, a standard utility knife, and it just slides in and out. And it's got a pry bar on the end as well, so it's great for opening a tin of paint, and then it's just a handy tool to have. It's my favorite Toughbuilt tool, but we've already showcased it before, and that's why it's not number 1, it's number 5. Let me show you number 4. So in the number 4 spot is something I've only seen in the States, and that is the Folding Jab Saw. Now I love tools like this, small, compact, multifunction tools basically, because I live by the phrase, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Have you ever heard that before? And basically it means if you've got one of something, you basically got none of it because you've got no backup. So having a tool like this in your toolbox gives you a little bit of redundancy, and let me show you why. So basically this tool here is like a multi-saw. It takes standard reciprocating saw bits, and you can see it comes with 4, so for metal, for plastic, for wood, and they come in this handy little case as well, which is pretty smart. Not all folding jab saws and folding saws come with that, so that's pretty smart. It's also got a 5th one in here which is fitted, and to change the blade's really easy. You just pull this down and it's in and out. Now I've used a few of these different saws before, and this is definitely the easiest mechanism. I've got a Bosch one, I'll put that on screen, and it's great when you've got the blade fitted, it's solid, but changing the blade is a bit of a faff. Now this is straight in there, no questions asked, it works really easily. To fold it, you just pull this down on the back and it folds in, and it tucks entirely out of the way, it's entirely gone there. And I did wonder for a second, how the heck do you get it back out again? But the same release you use to fold the blade is what you press to pop it out again. And it locks into place and it's really solid. And it's a great little backup. You know, I've used jab saws a lot for cutting in plasterboards. If you're just trying to put a dry lining box in, you can use this to just kind of trim things in, you know, and if it's great to just have as a backup. Usually you'd use a multi-tool or something, but having one of these in your kit as a backup helps you out with that phrase, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Have you heard that before? It's one of my favorites, and I think this represents a good level of backup to give you 2 of 1. So that's number 4. Let me show you number 3. In the 3rd spot, we've got a few more knives. There's a bit of a theme here. Toughbuilt have some clever knives. And to be honest, it doesn't end here. There are a couple of models I've seen since getting back from the States. But the 2 that I did pick up are the subcompact folding utility knife and the pry bar utility knife. Now let me show you. The subcompact is exactly as you'd expect. It's a compact folding utility knife. Now let me show you next to a fastback, which is my favorite current knife. I love the aluminium body fastback with additional blade storage. It's one of my favorite ones. I quite like the bit adapter version, but the problem is that one's plastic. So the aluminium body fastback is one of my favorite knives. And if I look at the Toughbuilt compared to it, it's a metal body, but it's a lot smaller and it's doing all the same stuff basically. So it's quite a nifty little tool. It's got a really simple release. It's got the same little wire stripper or wire cutter here that the fastback has, but it's obviously integrated so it tucks away. And it's quite a nifty little thing with a pocket clip. That's the subcompact. And then this one is something a bit different. This is the pry bar utility knife. And you can see this one's about the same size as the fastback, but with this one, we've got a really solid pry bar, and it's quite thick steel too. So that is pretty nifty. Obviously we've got a pry bar on this thing, but it's not nearly as solid, and it's a bulky old boy, this one, isn't it, with the scraper. Obviously you've got the feature there, but this one has got a pry bar built in. It's much smaller. It's got the same flick out action, which is really quick, and this one has got blade storage built in. It's a bit closer to the fastback in the fact you can have 2 blades stored in the handle. So both of them have got little innovations to them that make them different. They've brought something new to the market. There's so many knives. You go to any hardware store and you'll see a whole section of knives, and most of them are just generic utility knives with a new logo on, not offering anything different. And I love the fact that every knife that Toughbuilt offer, they're trying to level it up, make it a bit quirky. And there's certain applications, like if you're opening paint every day, you need a knife as much as you need a paint pry bar. So that is pretty awesome. Whether you'd go for the scraper or you'd go for this one is a bit of a personal preference really, but let me know in the comments, which one would you pick? I think for me, it's definitely worth giving this one a go. So that's number 3. Let me show you number 2. Next on the list is a bit of an unusual one. This is a folding pull saw. Have you ever seen a folding pull saw before from any other brand? Because I hadn't until I saw the Toughbuilt one, and this again was on like a bit of a clearance deal from Lowe's. It was on a rail, it stood out, and essentially a pull saw, Japanese pull saw, is usually quite long and flimsy, so you have to have it up on a wall, or you've got to make some sort of solution to protect it and store it. So having it on a work site, job site, guaranteed to get bust. It's a very fine tooth, it's for cutting off like dowels and stuff and for fine woodworking. Now there is probably applications applications for it on a job site, but having one there is going to be a nightmare. Until this thing, because basically the two sides fold down and they're geared, you can see here. So they go down together and they form a really sturdy handle with a little lock on it. So it locks in place like that. And that's really sturdy, really thick grip on it. And then you've got the flexible blade for just cutting off dowels or whatever you need to use it for. And it's just a really sturdy thing. You know, look at the size of that and how much space it saves by packing away nice and sturdy. It protects those. And then this lock clips on nice and solid and it's not going anywhere. And like I said, I've got two of those. So one of them can go into our giveaway pile. So that's number 2. Have you ever used one of those before? What do you reckon? Do you reckon that's worthy of a number 2 spot? It's one of the most novel tools I think we've got on the table. But that leads me to number 1. Let me show you my top Toughbuilt pick. So in the number 1 spot, I've got 2 items and they're both screwdrivers, 1/4-inch bit screwdrivers. One of them caught my eye immediately. It's called the 24-bit Grenade. Have you ever heard anything like it? A grenade screwdriver. You can guess where I got it from. It's only available there. Have you ever heard of anything like it? Something called a grenade? Well, grenade's not a bad term for it. So it comes with this steel wire attachment. You press a button and it pulls it back in. And the idea is you clip it on your pants like that and you can take it around the place with you. It's got a little cover on it and essentially we've got 2-way bits. They just turn like this and it spins quite nicely. You can find the bit you need, 24 of them, so you've got a heck of a choice of different bits. Let's get a classic one here. Let's get a Phillips bit. That clips in there and then essentially we've got quite a long reach ratchet and screwdriver, which is quite nice. And that is alone is quite a quirky little thing. Not so much the screwdriver. I mean, that's just like a typical ratchet and screwdriver, but this is pretty cool. The fact you've got 24 bits in one spot on your belt with that release is pretty cool. And the next screwdriver is another quirky little innovation. However, these guys aren't the original innovators of this, but I was interested to see one and pick it up. I picked this up 3-4 weeks ago now in America on that US trip. You can go and watch that US tour video if you've not seen it already. And it's basically a quick chain screwdriver. It's got 6 bits in it. You rotate it around and you can see there it just jammed. I found this one to jam up quite a lot. You can see it's not turning. And actually when I was forcing it, a few bits of plastic came flying out of it. So the idea and principle is there. But the reason why I put it on number 1 is the idea. I love the idea. The execution was just not quite there. Or maybe I got a broken one. But even if it wasn't broken, the idea that the bits, you can see them from the side and they can move around and you can see there's an opportunity for it to jam. But that being said, whilst I was at the European Hardware Show last week, I actually found the very same tool from the original inventor, Mark Reynolds from Canada, and this one is called the Autoloader. It's the same principle. It's a 6-bit cartridge. You just turn the handle round, and each time it engages a different bit. And I've been playing with this one a fair bit since getting back from the show in Europe, and it's not jammed up on me once, and I love it. I think this has got a really solid feel to it. It's a nice looking thing, it feels quality, made in Canada, and we are looking at bringing this to the UK with a red tip here, shadow foam logo, and then we'll be the first people selling this thing in the UK. Now, if you want one, we've got a link below this video where you can put your name on a list, and once we've got 100 people that want one of these things, I'll bring some over. I've talked to Mark already, he's happy to do it, but he can't just send 1 or 2, he has to send a big box of them. So to make it work and to make sure we can price these at a fair price, we need at least 100 names. So if you want one, go down there, click the link, fill in your name and email, that's all we need, and then we'll get in touch with you once we've got some available. So there we go, that's the Toughbuilt range of tools, and there's some fascinating innovations. Everything has got something quirky and special about it. But to be fair, my absolute number 1, let's call it a bonus, or let's call it number 1, it's A star, is definitely the StackTech system. I absolutely love all of the innovations that they're adding to what is quite a crowded market at the minute. There's loads of different brands with toolbox modular systems that click together. The list is endless, but we do have inserts for every single brand of toolbox on our website, shadowfoam.com, including now the Toughbuilt. So this very box here has a set of inserts on the website. We have a 30mm base layer and then a 50mm top layer, and that's because there's quite a significant step front and back on these boxes. So we need a 30 and a 50 to get a really nice fill there. And with that insert, we can now do a layout, get all of these tools organized and cut into this StackTech. So let me do a layout. Right, so I've done a bit of a layout. Basically, I've got all of the smaller handheld items in the top layer, and I've added a shadow foam Zoll stock. It's not a shadow foam video now if I've not got a Zoll stock folding ruler in there. And we've just launched our very own shadow foam branded version. It's birch, and it's got shadow foam logo both sides, metric and imperial, so it's for everybody, this thing. And you can get one on the website. They're a tenner, so we'll put a link in the description for that as well, so you can go and check that out. Maybe add one to your next shadow foam order. And we'll cut that in here, and we've got the 30mm base layer with a hammer and the pull saw in. The PVC saw is a bit too big, so maybe we'll have to put that in a wall display. Let me know if you want to see a Toughbuilt wall display. So all I've got to do now is cut all of the tools into the foam and peel back the layers. That's as simple as this process is. And for that, you need one of our cutting kits. These come free with most orders on the website, and they've got everything you need to do this job, including an anti-cut glove and a scalpel handle with a sharp scalpel I've just fitted. And all you have to do is place the item where you want it to go on the foam, use the scalpel like a pencil, and just cut around that item, capturing the silhouette on the foam. It's really simple. You just cut all the way around. Once you've done that, you take the item out of the way, press on the foam, expose the cut you've made, cut back round again and make that cut deeper. You want to go down past the depth you want to peel out. So this knife's about 20mm deep. We want to be cutting down to about 25-30mm. Once you've gone all the way around, you then dig your finger down one end and you kind of curve or curl your finger underneath and pull the foam back towards you. You kind of pull in the material and you're chasing it along with your fingers. You can get 2 fingers under there now. Peel it all the way back until, there you go, the material's come out. And the item should fit in there just lovely. And that's all it takes to cut shadow foam. I'm going to use the exact same process for all the other items. So let's get cutting. Right, so there we go. That's all of the hand tools cut into the 50mm layer, which will be like a lift out tray. And they're pretty good. I've got a pretty good layout there that I'm happy with. The base layer though, I've got the 2 big items and I'm gonna show you a top tip. So if you want to see a load of top tips, you can go and watch this video where I go through loads of ways to get really good results with shadow foam. But I'm just gonna show you how, when you can't peel back the foam, so on these ones it was cut and peel, but with this you'll notice the hammer is as deep as the 30mm foam insert itself, so I've had to cut all the way through, which is fine. But if you still want to see that blue showing through, you can get the piece of foam that you've cut out, you can get like a little spacer. You can see what I've got here is 2 of our little stencil guides, and you just hold the scalpel like this and we can literally just slit the base off, and that'll give us a nice thin blue piece of foam we can pop back in, and it'll give us that contrast so we can see if any tools are missing, and it'll just look that little bit better, which is, it's all about the finish. When you're organising your tools, you want it to look good. Quite a simple technique this, just cutting all the way around. And there we go, once you've gone all the way around, you should end up with a really thin piece of blue foam, which can go back in the base of there, and now we've got that blue contrast. Perfect, right, so let's chuck these back in the StackTech box. And there you go, that is the StackTech all organised, all the tools are in there. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of different Toughbuilt tools laid out on the table. We've got 5 of my favourite scraper knives, and we've got 5 other Toughbuilt tools. So I've got 3 hammer loops, and I've got a PVC saw and a folding pull saw. So, as always, if you want to win one of these, plus a belt loop and a saw, basically, you've just got to drop a comment. Get involved, let me know, would you buy a Toughbuilt StackTech if they were available in the UK? Or which one of those accessories do you think is a game changer? Which other brands would you like to see? We've got the Klein mod box system, we've got the Flex Stack Pack, we've got a few other systems we've not reviewed yet. So let me know in the comments what tools you like, what tools you don't like, what toolboxes you want to see. Any comments are entered into the giveaway to win a knife and some other Toughbuilt goodies. So thanks very much for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one.